Welcome to Study Guide. Today we will discuss on building ethical AI governance framework. Like the humans who program them, computer programs must abide by norms and operate within the bounds of the law. The idea of regulation is often not worth considering when the consequences are minimal. However, recently, some AI algorithms have taken on such pivotal roles that scientists have started wondering what it would take to regulate or control their actions. Justice, data quality, and individual freedom are the primary areas of concentration for AI governance. Answers to questions about AI safety, the industries that should and shouldn't be automated by AI, the necessary legal and institutional frameworks, personal data control and access, and the role of moral and ethical intuitions when interacting with AI, must be determined. How much of people's lives can be influenced by algorithms, and who is responsible for keeping an eye on them, is a central question in AI governance. Decision-making involving machine learning algorithms necessitates the establishment of rules for governing AI. Some studies have found that machine learning systems are biased in ways that lead to racial profiling, unfair loan denials, and incorrect identification of users' most basic characteristics. When AI-based decisions are unfair or in violation of human rights, developing AI governance will help figure out the best course of action. Many judicial and administrative decisions, such as criminal sentencing, housing allocation, and insurance premiums, are now being made by algorithms trained by artificial intelligence. These spheres are all heavily regulated by laws that the humans developing the technology must follow. The algorithms used in AI technologies could theoretically adhere to the same rules, or develop their own. As the use of AI spreads, its benefits and drawbacks are being more widely acknowledged. New regulations and guidelines are being introduced by governments to protect citizens from the risks posed by the malicious and accidental misuse of artificial intelligence. An organization's operational, financial, regulatory, and reputational security can all be jeopardized by improper use of AI. Additionally, it probably doesn't reflect the guiding principles of your company. In order to make sure AI serves its intended purpose, it needs special safeguards that take into account its peculiar nature. That's why that duty is central to the regulation of AI. AI governance playbooks and best practices are starting to emerge after a few years of experience with implementing and scaling deep learning in the enterprise. Where AI governance is most important is where decisions are most contentious. While algorithms can provide a semblance of neutrality, they cannot completely eliminate human conflict. If people are dissatisfied with the outcome, a good governance mechanism can only alleviate some of the tension. Indeed, the size and magnitude of the problems that the AI is asked to solve limit the success of governance. Deeper conflict results from larger problems with more in-depth effects. While people may be angry at the algorithm, the larger process is the source of the conflict. Putting AIs in charge of people's health, wealth, or careers is a recipe for disaster. There are also constraints to the best governance practices. Frequently, the rule structure simply assigns control of specific elements to specific people. If the people are corrupt, foolish, or wrong, their decisions will simply flow through the governance mechanism, causing the AI to be corrupt, foolish, or wrong. Another governance limitation appears when people ask the AI algorithm to explain its decision. These responses may be too complicated to be satisfying. Only governance mechanisms can control and guide AI. They are unable to simplify or change their internal processes. Google has come up with a set of best practices for ethical AI development, which can be a foundation to any framework or model we would like to build for AI. According to Google, advances in AI are opening up possibilities to better people's lives in a variety of fields, including business, healthcare, and education. It also begs new questions about how to design in things like security, privacy, and fairness. These are not simple problems, and they are currently the subject of intense study. Google has stated publicly that it will make strides toward the development of AI in a responsible manner and will share its findings, research, tools, datasets, and other resources with the community at large. A sampling of their recent efforts and suggestions for future directions are included below. With every study Google conducts, they consider the most recent findings, work to implement them where they make sense, and modify our strategies accordingly. The first practice is about use a human-centered design approach. This states that design features with appropriate disclosures built in, clarity and control is crucial to a good user experience. Model potential adverse feedback early in the design process, followed by specific live testing and iteration for a small fraction of traffic before full deployment. Engage with a diverse set of users and use case scenarios, and incorporate feedback before and throughout project development. Next is, identify multiple metrics to assess training and monitoring. This one states that, use metrics that track overall system performance and short and long-term product health or false positive and false negative rates sliced across different subgroups. Use of several metrics rather than a single one will help you to understand trade-offs between different kinds of errors and experiences. When possible, directly examine your raw data. This is about the practice that ML models will reflect the data they are trained on, so analyze your raw data carefully to ensure you understand it. For supervised systems, consider the relationship between the data labels you have and the items you are trying to predict. Next one is, understand the limitations of your dataset and model. A machine learning model should not be used to make causal inferences or imply that it can. E.g., your model may learn that people who buy basketball shoes are taller on average, but this does not mean that a user who buys basketball shoes will become taller as a result. Also communicate limitations to users where possible. For example, an app that uses ML to recognize specific bird species might communicate that the model was trained on a small set of images from a specific region of the world. By better educating the user, you may also improve the feedback provided from users about your feature or application. Test. This states that learn from software engineering best practices and quality engineering to make sure the AI system is working as intended and can be trusted. Use a gold standard dataset to test the system and ensure that it continues to behave as expected. Update this test set regularly in line with changing users and use cases, and to reduce the likelihood of training on the test set. The last but not the least, continue to monitor and update the system after deployment. An imperfect model of the world is imperfect by definition, but it can be improved with time and continued monitoring. A simple fix may help to solve a problem quickly, but may not be the optimal solution in the long run. Before updating a deployed model, analyze how the candidate and deployed models differ, and how the update will affect the overall system quality. The 5 components of AI governance framework are: 1. Reasoning, the ability to explain the AI's workings to its creators and educators. How can users who may be expected to trust the AI's judgments be made aware of this? 2. Balance, when evaluating an AI's decision-making abilities, one must consider whether or not the model satisfies larger demands for fairness from society and the people who must live with the AI's decisions. 3. Security, is the model making choices that ensure the safety of humans and their possessions? Do safety features exist in the algorithm to prevent it from causing harm? 4. Human-AI collaboration, the merger of humans and computers. When making choices, how can humans best utilize the AI's findings? What mechanisms exist for humans to share their knowledge with the AI in order to help it learn? 5. Ownership, who is responsible for paying when things go wrong? Is the company's structure solid and well understood enough to accurately assign responsibility? Governments aren't the only ones taking notice, though. Business executives have started to take notice as well. Google is a frontrunner in the field of responsible AI development, and the company places a strong emphasis on program governance. Explainable AI, model cards, and the TensorFlow open source toolkit are just a few examples of the company's efforts to make the inner workings of the model more transparent in order to increase understanding and enable governance. With the information gathered by their explainable AI method, humans can monitor the efficacy of any given model or system and possibly exercise control over it. Microsoft's commitment to ethical AI was supported by a number of internal groups that research current practices surrounding the creation and implementation of AI solutions and provide recommendations regarding appropriate governance structures. By monitoring the accuracy and fairness of the results produced by the technology, monitoring tools like FairLearn and InterpreterML can keep tabs on model performance. Microsoft also develops specialized software for governments with more intricate regulatory frameworks. When it comes to managing the teams responsible for AI, Amazon has a lot of tools that can help. For instance, the Oz Control Tower and Oz organizations are used to oversee the administration of groups that utilize the Oz ecosystem in its entirety, including the AI instruments. IBM, too, is working on tools to automate AI governance tasks for businesses. Users can monitor the development, rollout, and evaluation of models. After the model has been trained, it will be deployed after careful curation and governance of the data storage. For example, IBM's Watson Studio, a model building tool, has built-in controls that can be used to regulate the quality of the models it generates. Particularly helpful are the AI Fairness 360 tool, the AI Explainability 360 tool, and the AI Adversarial Robustness 360 tool. The most contentious areas of AI governance are those with the greatest impact. Algorithms may be able to restore some semblance of peace, but they can't do away with conflict altogether. In the event that people are dissatisfied with the outcome, even the most effective governance mechanism can only alleviate some of the animosity. Indeed, the size and magnitude of the problems that the AI is asked to solve are a limiting factor in the success of the governance. Tensions tend to rise as the scale and scope of a problem increase. People's resentment may be directed at the algorithm, but the real problem lies with the method as a whole. You're just asking for trouble if you put AIs in charge of people's health, wealth, or careers. Even the most effective methods of government have their limits. Most of the time, the rule structure merely designates individuals as in charge of individual parts. If the people are corrupt, foolish, or wrong, then the AI will act in accordance with their decisions. When citizens demand an explanation for a decision made by an AI algorithm, this limitation of governance becomes apparent. Some of these solutions may be too involved to provide a satisfying resolution. Governance mechanisms can only control and guide the AI. They can't make them easy to understand or change their internal processes. Subscribe to our channel for more. Stay tuned.